right? Meow.
You are going to fall in love with this dude. There he is. Oh, this is Kristen. Kristen, this is Michael. This is the delicious treat of a man I told you all about.
Well, hello, Michael. I've heard so much about you. Nice to meet you.
I believe only half of it, I'm sure.
Oh, well, no. Half of it was good. Which half do you want me to believe? The bad half or the good half?
The good, obviously. Let's work with that.
Come on, it was
wonderful.
It was 98% good, Michael.
Oh, that's true. Well, that's pretty good. You're right.
The Hollow Bunny. And we all feel how.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Hollow Bunny Leadership Podcast. I'm Kristen Zeman, and I'm here with my sassy and salacious co-host, Sylvia Moyer. How's that? You like that?
I love it.
I gotta look it up. I'm not sure what all that says about me, but if you're dishing sassy and salacious, I'll take sassy and salacious.
Yeah, you know I'm into the alliteration. I love the alliteration, so I try really hard with this. Okay, this is the heaviest lift of my day. Okay.
Wait.
Go.
You gotta say who I am, my sassy salacious from that province, that place in Canada. Go ahead, try it.
Saskatchewan.
Oh, that is a mouthful.
It's my favorite. I want to move there just so I can say I live in Saskatchewan. So anyway, Sylvia and I are both former police chiefs, but the Hollow Bunny podcast is not just for cops. This is for anyone interested in talking about life and leadership, and particularly the lessons that we have learned about both. And those lessons fill up the Hollow Bunny metaphorically. Syl, why don't you tell us who is filling our bunny today?
Kristen Zeman and all solid bunnies, we brought to you a super solid, innovative, customer-focused, get-it-done kind of guy. Michael Koonce is here with us today. And Michael and I, you know those times in life where your life intersects with a human being that you say, I am not only going to fangirl this guy, I want to be his best friend. I want to hang out with him. I want to learn from him. I'm going to, be like a 5-year-old sitting on his foot and hanging on his leg when he's trying to get me to leave his house after a fantastic dinner and game of cribbage. I mean, the guy,
cribbage
to me is
cribbage. That's the game you pull out. Cribbage. Yeah. Okay.
We play cribbage. You play strip poker, you little slut. We play cribbage.
Oh.
Okay.
Wow. That's such an intellectual pastime. But I'll take that. Carry on.
Michael. Yes. The strip poker or the cribbage. Anyway, so Michael Koonce came into my field of view. When I met him, he's a pilot. And we were doing a thing with the volunteer pilots. And I met he and his wife, Gigi, and dove into this guy. And immediately everyone on this podcast is going to want to be his best friend. They're all going to want to find out how to apply. But Kristen's at the top of the heap, so good luck beating her out. So he's bright, he's energetic, he's innovative, he's a risk taker. He has this bearing and tact that is lighthearted, but also grounded in incredible business and a business mind. And what a perfect solid bunny to bring to our viewers to kick that Oprah Winfrey off of our calendar today and bring Michael Koonce to the people. So Michael Koonce is known around the globe in the hydrogen field. He's a gas. Right?
Oh, very good.
Have you been planning that? Oh my gosh. Have you been planning that to just drop that like that, like it's hot?
Sometimes brilliance just flows. You don't know its origins, but it just happens. So everybody, I want to introduce you. Yes. I want to introduce you to Michael Koonce. He's coming to us from the San Francisco Ferry Building, where they're doing a launch of a hydrogen fuel ferry boat ship thingy. I don't know what we call it in the biz. And it's really a remarkable, innovative piece for transportation and as an environmental piece on the globe. He's going to talk to us about it. He's going to tell us what fills his bunny. And Michael, welcome. The applause is about to start.
Michael, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yes, we're
delighted.
Michael, are you taking applications for best friends right now? Because I have a feeling, we're going to get a lot of applicants, but just it just depends on if you're open to it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I just want to know who would want to be a member of a club that I'm a member that would accept me as a member. That's what I want to know. So, but yeah, no, applications are widely open. So,
Okay,
Good to know.
fantastic,
We'll get to that.
fantastic. And we want headshots attached to applications. But carry on.
That's why we play cribbage instead of strip poker. Thank you.
that's right.
So Michael, our viewers are either dropping off their kids, they're listening to us in their quiet time, they're on a treadmill. These are folks that want to get little nibbles, want to understand how to be a solid leader, how to innovate, how to be present. Anyway, how to do this leadership gig. Talk to us, tell us your start story, give us a little understanding of you from Sacramento, huh?
Oh yeah. No, Sacramento. So pretty much grew up there. It was a great place to grow up. So I think a lot of it takes great parenting, and a lot of people encouraging you along the way, and I think people to give you the responsibilities that you always thought you could handle, or maybe you didn't think you could handle, but you rose to the occasion anyway. And people that believed in you. I think that kind of gives you the start to kind of get there. At least I think it's always been kind of one of the building blocks for me to get where I'm at today. If I can think it, it makes sense. I can make it happen, and I think that is just kind of been the business I'm in, and what I've been able to accomplish today is all kind of built kind of on those fundamentals. So where do I start? My gosh, I mean, I started out of college. First of all, my background, I got a bachelor's degree in economics and finance. Oddly enough, I went to work for a guy right out of college who he didn't even have a high school degree, but he built a company manufacturing automatic welding equipment. So just about every nuclear plant in this country was built using his equipment. And he's kind of me personified, somebody who, if you can think it, you're smart enough, you can make it happen. And so, and flying was kind of a common theme there as well. I met him when I was working at the airport, going through college, managing this little FBO operation and trying to sell some airplanes too. And met this guy, and he made me an offer after college. Hey, come work for me. And okay, yes, he had a neat, cool airplane, and I wanted to fly the plane. But he also just, I love this first day at work. So I show up the first day at work, and I'm in a tie and suit, and he looks at me, and he goes, what the fuck? He goes, you look pretty nice. I said, yeah. He says, do you know how to weld? I said, not a clue. He peels off a couple $100. He goes, go down and buy some jeans, some hard toe shoes, and then come back. So he says, for the next 2 months, you got to learn to weld, buddy. So
Wow.
I learned to weld. But shortly after that, he says, you know our equipment better than anybody. I need you out in Alabama. So he sent me out to manage a bunch of union welders in Decatur, Alabama, which is the armpit of America. I mean,
Sorry, Decatur. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry,
Decatur.
Decatur.
Sorry,
Folks.
Decatur.
Yeah.
We have a lot of listeners from Decatur, Alabama. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, well, all right.
Huge fan base.
Oh yeah. Managed that. That was fun. He just kept getting project after project, and from there, my life just kind of took different turns. He exited and retired eventually, and then I went to work on the Chicago Board Options Exchange. One of the first jobs I ever went to where I actually cried for like the first week. Every time I came home from work. Oh, it's just so overwhelming, the amount of information they required you to learn. And you when you're presented with things that you think are so overwhelming, you sometimes you either rise to the occasion or you bail. And a lot of the folks I was with.
Cry.
Oh, you cry. And I went home and cried. And it worked.
Or all of the above.
Yeah. So I'm in touch with my feminine side. So it's, So, but the people there, they knew it could be done, and they had faith, and they said, look, we know it's not easy, but you will get it. And I, son of a gun, the amount of information the mind is able to process and remember is really impressive, especially when someone kind of forces you into it, and you really want it as well. And so little things like at the end of the day, we'd be doing trades on options, and the guy I was running for would say, well, how many of the IBM contracts did we buy, the April 50s or something? And boy, I could rattle off exactly how many contracts, who we traded them with. It's just amazing how your brain is really this incredible sponge for picking up things. And as a result of that, I think that, again, people holding you responsible, giving you those responsibilities, and just the motivation, self motivation to want to rise to get it done. So those are kind of some things that happen. And so life kind of goes along, and you meet people, and I ended up working for an older guy that I'd met at the company that had the automatic welding equipment. He was a consultant, but he was also kind of a captain of industry in the welding field. His name was Turner Bashir. Wonderful, just stellar gentleman. Also kind of a self-made entrepreneur in his life as well. But we're doing merger and acquisition advisory work, and along the way, he had a heart issue. He had to go in to have that taken care of, and I started up a company. Trading gases out of Russia, where I'd done a little work off and on. And so I was bringing the xenon and krypton gases. Yes, there is krypton. Superman does not exist in my life as a result of that. But, so we would bring xenon and krypton from Russia to the States, and I just made a great business out of that. That kind of got me into the whole gas thing. And gases led to making trailers to hold the gases. And I started an operation in Indonesia, where we were like, if you go to Indonesia, you'll see my trailers all over the place. I've since exited that business, but this was the early CNG days. And then today, I became the leading manufacturer of high pressure trailers using composite cylinders, something nobody was doing. They were all using steel cylinders. And I said, look, we got higher pressure needs out there. I can do this. I can make this happen. Had a great team of people. We built this. We became 100% market share. Everybody uses our equipment. Chevron, Shell, Air Products, Air Liquide. It's when you build something, it's great. And I think part of that has always been the desire, thinking for your customer. Because a lot of times customers want something, they just don't know all the details about how to get there. And if you're doing the thinking for the customer, and making it easy for the customer, maybe that's the best way to put it. Make it easy. It just really flows. And customers, we all like the path of least resistance, don't we? I mean, that's why fast food survives, right? But we make it easy for the customer, and my God, they'll keep coming. And listen to the customer. Don't tell them what they need necessarily, but you just be ahead of the curve on it. So I've sold my manufacturing company. I've sold that back in 21. Did pretty well with that, and I have bought back the leasing arm of my company because I have a leasing company as well. Bought that back. And today I have a company called H2 Strategics. It is I call my mantra out there is that we develop hydrogen enabling services and products. So in this new hydrogen economy we're talking about, there's so many products and services that are going to be needed just to help the guy making a truck, a hydrogen fuel cell truck, or a bus, or a boat, like today. I'm that guy in the middle. I'm agnostic. I help everybody. So it's kind of been a nice place to play. One, I get paid, and and everybody's got money for the guy in the middle, because that's what it takes to make things happen. So I've got the leasing company. H2 Strategics has 3 companies today. It has the leasing company. And we also have the company called H2 Compressors. We make hydrogen dedicated compressors. We have these, I like to call starter kits coming out for the folks that get maybe a transit district that gets maybe 2 to 5 fuel cell electric buses to try out. Well, they got to support them and fill them. Well, I build the equipment to do that. So again, I'm everybody's buddy at that point. And so they do that. Company's in Tulsa does that kind of work. And then I have a company in Brigham City, Utah. Brigham City, yeah, it's got to be in Utah, right? That's manufactures composite steel or composite cylinders for hydrogen, for firemen, for SCBA, and we do a little bit of aerospace stuff. So that's my life today. So
Michael. Hold on. I need to take a nap. I'm exhausted from that. That's a lot. That's a lot.
They're on the treadmill going, 6 miles an hour. They're on mile 9 going, I'm a fucking slacker compared to this dude. You're not slackers,
Michael,
solid bunnies. You're not slackers.
Michael, I've got questions for you.
Do it,
I've
Kristen.
got questions for you.
No.
Okay, Michael.
All right, where do you want to start?
go back. Okay, you gave us a lot of information. That is a remarkable journey. What I want to pull on a few threads in your backstory, especially the one where, first of all, you go to school for economics. So this is part. So first of all, what was the thing that you envisioned yourself when you said your undergrad? What did you see yourself doing? What was your dream?
Oh, that's a great question. I think it was, I wanted to be, obviously I wanted to make some money. I think that was key. And my mom
Mm-hmm.
raised my brother and I, middle class kind of thing, in South Sacramento. Sylvia knows that area pretty well. Um, so it's really, we're going to have to make it on our own if we're going to do it. I think banking was that was a high thing. I think I wanted to do that at the
You're
time.
too sexy for
Um,
banking.
well,
Well, and the reason I asked that, the reason I asked that is that, it's like this idea of pivoting and through our leadership roles in life, through all of our phases in life, what I see them as being as stepping stones to go somewhere else. But oftentimes we set this chart of, this is the navigation of where we're headed. This is what I want to do. And then, you take this job, with a company that makes welding equipment and probably not on your dance card or on your bingo card at that time to predict that this is what you would have done. And yet that sets you on a trajectory to really, again, this uncharted path. And so, talk a little bit about that. Was there any part of you when you joined that company, and especially when you show up in your suit, which is the antithesis of what we usually see is, wait, go home and get some jeans, go buy some jeans. But, were you thinking this is just what I'm going to do because, I'll make a little cash here and then I'll kind of figure it out, but, in your mind, did you feel like you were settling or maybe going down, a path that you hadn't planned upon? Was this a good, positive thing, or was it a thing that I'm going to do this right now?
Well, it was interesting because at the time I'd also had offers from the Union Bank. It was a big bank here in Sacramento, California. So I had that in one hand, and then Howard, the president of this company called Dymetrics, was saying, "No, I really want you to come work for me." Okay, there's also another addictive thing in life that happens is when you learn to fly. Oh my God, if you really love it, you're just addicted. And Howard had this really cool airplane, and so that probably tipped the scale. But to your point, you're absolutely right. Life is a journey. You do not know where it's going to go. I think the best thing your parents can do for you is teach you how to make good decisions. And they're not always going to be the right decisions along the way, but you're going to do the best you can. And when you make those decisions along your path, your journey, you're right. You're going to meet people. You're going to have new experiences, opportunities presented to you, and they're just going to take you where that stream goes. And boy,
Yeah.
so the point is, I think when you're young, and I try to tell my sons this, you think you know where you want to go. Just jump in the river and get swimming because you're going to find it's going to take you places you just have never imagined. And, do what you like, enjoy the people you're with, just go along for it. Be prepared for the journey, which is not a very human thing. I think
Mm-mm.
people I think are often adverse to change, and life is really all about change. And if you don't open yourself up to change, you're going to be stuck in a rut. And at least that's my belief. I may be wrong. There are probably exceptions to that, but I'm certainly one of those guys. I think that have embraced change and gone along with the ride. So I love it. Couldn't ask for better lifestyle.
Well, it sounds like you followed a hobby. So, and then so I'll kick it over to you, but I've got 20,000 questions. But so the flying, was that just a hobby thing that, how did you come upon a love of flying, and when did you decide to get your pilot's license? I didn't hear you say military background. So was this something that
No.
you did, independently? So talk to me about flying, because that was to me, that's the catalyst that, you were enamored by this plane. So you joined this company, which speaks to how hobbies and passions kind of pull us towards this magnet, and maybe a job that wasn't necessarily in the wheelhouse of what you'd studied, but that guy had a cool plane. I love to fly. I'm going there. Thus now a trajectory that you could have never imagined, then transpire. So where did this flying come from?
So my dad was in the Air Force, and he flew and did 2 tours in Vietnam, and came back and expected my mom to be kind of an Air Force wife kind of thing. And my mom had also gotten her master's in psychology, and she goes, "No, no, no, I've been raising kids. It's my turn for my career." So that didn't last. So mom is raising 2 boys, working for the state of California, and I think she kind of wanted to instill us to take responsibility, and so when we were best about 16, 17, she says, "I'll tell you what, guys, if you want to learn to fly, I'll match you dollar for dollar on that." And so I took her up on that. I had a job, and I had some money saved up, and she matched that. And this is back when learning to fly was relatively inexpensive. And I took flying lessons, and when taking flying lessons, I got to know the owners of the business that where I was taking the lessons, and they offered me a job to work there and opportunities to fly in their bigger planes. So you're right, the journey began early, and like I said, it's the people you meet along the way and the opportunities. And the gentleman I met, Howard, with the welding company, was a client of the company that I worked for. So it all
Awesome.
there's a link in the thread to everything. It seems like.
So here's the thing. I mean, this really speaks to this leadership piece that relationships and passions make opportunities. So if we say that relationships and passions often make opportunities, they also, if we are open to this unfolding experience and we follow those opportunities, they'll lead you in a place that you can't even imagine. My hunch is that you didn't see that you'd be this amazing pilot, that then you're an entrepreneur in the gas industry, that then you take this kind of sciencey, mathy brain that you have and you engineer components and delivery systems and trailers and things to deliver this. My hunch is that you didn't see that. So what do you say to folks that kind of poo-poo relationships and passions as pathways to something incredible and different?
Ooh, yeah, they're wrong. That's just the bottom line. I mean, I think life is all about relationships. I mean, we don't
Yes,
live life
sir.
in a box or without those kind of contacts. And you've got to embrace them. And people are your best allies in this world. I really feel for people who just have got sour personalities and just can't get along with people, because they're doomed. I hate to, I'm being very categorical here, but yeah, you've got to embrace people. And that's the one thing I love about life. And I tell my kids this: I love the human element of life. I mean, you've run across
Right.
so many great, wonderful people, big, large, all different colors, all different sexes, all everything. It's they all have a story, and I think that's
Right.
the best part about it. And some of them are really talented, and some are, like I said, some are don't want to be engaged. I think I've got a personality that usually gets along with most people.
For
So,
sure.
but yeah, but no, I think people who don't want to embrace the relationship side, totally wrong. Try it. You might actually like it. You might be more fulfilled.
Exactly. And there's this other piece that I want to pull on, Michael, is that it seems that you are, my impression of you, you're a freaking good time. You are the kind of guy that you take your work very seriously, but you don't take yourself so seriously. What do you say to leaders about that?
Oh yeah, no, no, no. I like to tell people I am not the smartest guy in the room. I like to think I work harder at it than most. But no, you can, and you certainly cannot take yourself seriously. I'm not perfect, and I know that. I've got my list of flaws. We'll talk about that on another show. But no, no. You've got to be self. You got to have a lot of introspective when things aren't working. You got to be able to tell yourself things aren't working, and you have to be able to change course. But if you're not true and honest with yourself, then it's hard to move forward too. So, yeah, I've got a great team of people, and they know they can tell me what they think, and I may not like it, and that's welcome. But because that's how we have the dialogue. So long as no one's taking it personally, and I think that helps. So.
the whole idea of human connection is, I'm just enamored by it, and especially as it pertains to teams. And it's there's this whole idea of talent and competency, and yet you could be potentially the smartest person, you could be the you have the highest level of competency, and and you bring up something very important, especially about likability, is that I get along with everyone, because there's a lot of people that have a lot to offer, and yet they just can't seem to play well with others in the sandbox. And I love that, because when we think about when we're building teams and leading organizations, there are people, what excites me and what ignites my fire is being with people that inspire me, people that make me laugh, people that I want to be around. And that means also people that I want to be in the trench with when the defecation hits the oscillation. So that competency for me is of utmost importance. But gosh, I want to like you. I want to have fun with you. And I think sometimes we overlook that likability factor and just the human connection of, just being somebody great to work with. So I'm glad that surfaces through this conversation.
Well, and don't get me wrong, too. There are some people I don't particularly like, but I really respect them and I work well with them. And I think so long as we've got a respect, there's also a respect factor to it as well. Um, that can also, you don't have to like everybody in your life, but you have to be able to work
Sure.
with everybody in your life. And at the end of the day, they go left, I go right, and we get back together the next day, kind of thing. So there are those elements too. It's a big bonus plus if you also like the people as well. And I will say one thing about leadership too is that you know you want to be likability is an important quality, but it also has limits too, because when you do have a lot of people working for you, I mean, you can have a personal relationship, but it becomes difficult to have too tight of a relationship with the folks that work with you, because sometimes you have to have hard discussions and it can be taken personally. So you find a balance there of a healthy relationship, but it's not the super close relationship. You have work friends, you have close friends. So friends do kind of do get put in categories with me too. So just make sure that there's some defining lines there.
Yeah, it's super interesting because I think we've all worked with people that we don't really like them, but we like what they add to the texture of the team. And that's a really important distinction, because then we can still interact with them from a place of respect and admiration for their piece, right?
Yeah,
We did
absolutely.
a episode recently about the narcissists. And so those are the people that it's hard to like anything about what they add. So it's an interesting point. Michael, I wanted to kind of uh, explore this piece with you when you talked about what you do for the customer. What Everything that is out in the environment about you, the Google, anything that we ask people about, like, how are you known? It is that you identify what the customer needs and you take an innovative approach that might be completely wackadoodle to somebody, but you have this interesting intersection of kind of the sciencey brain, engineering kind of brain, and this human brain that understands what people want to achieve that they may not know what it looks like. What do you say to creating something for the customer that they want? How would leaders across this environment kind of apply that learning to where they are?
Yeah, so I think listening is a key. It's something a lot of people don't do. I think a lot of bigger companies don't listen. They're telling the customer what they've got, and so I think
Huh.
my approach has always been, look, I'm going to listen to what the issues are. I have experiences, or I have knowledge, or I have read about elements that may or may not apply, and asking questions and seeing how they play into it, how what the response is. And you find that some customers may not have thought things through as well because they just don't have that information. And if you're offering them you become a resource for them in terms of new ideas about things and listening to their concerns at the same time. It builds that trust and that hey, you're the go-to guy that I want to help solve my problems for me. So yeah, so that relationship.
What
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What do you say about, I love this topic about customers, and we, of course, we look at our customers as our employees as well, and the people that we serve. When Steve Jobs, he said something very controversial that people still argue about to this day. He said, some people give customers what they want, but that's not my approach. He said, our job, meaning at Apple, is to figure out what they are going to want before they do.
Absolutely.
What do you say to that as far as the approach of, it's like this idea, they don't know what they want, so it's my job to stay ahead of the curve, to use my imagination to build a product. And especially, this seems very relevant to you. How does that resonate with you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that's part of what the whole thing is: creative thinking, being ahead of the curve, and knowing what the customer is, what they're going to need, especially in this hydrogen world right now. It's the Wild West. People don't know. A great example. Traditionally, hydrogen gets compressed to high pressures for storage purposes. So there's a whole industry out there of folks that make compressors. Okay, great. You buy a compressor, they're done with you. The customer needs more than that. The customer has to be able to integrate that into their application. I look at a compressor like the engine in your car. Who goes shopping for an engine in their car? No, you go shopping for the whole car. The engine's kind of just one piece of the whole puzzle. But somebody thought about the whole car for you. But in my world, the compressors have been a great example that people go out and they buy compressors, but they forget about, if we install this compressor, we need to have a dispenser that goes along with it. We have to have emergency shutdown devices that interface with it so we can shut it down in case an incident occurs. We need to have infrared fire detectors that integrate with it. So so what we came up with, for example, is we came up with we sell compressors, we sell a compressor dispenser integrated package. But we also came up with a full set of wireless emergency shutdown buttons and infrared fire detection systems. So the customer gets essentially all their equipment. They pull it out of the box, they mount it where they want, turn it on, and everything's talking together. It is the full solution that the customer actually needs. But the customers at the time didn't know any better. They didn't know that they're going to need a shutdown device or a fire detector. But we knew they were going to need it. Let's build it. Let's put it in place so that when we come to it, we never even have to have that discussion. The other great thing is I'm a little bit paranoid about my competition. I'm always looking in the rearview mirror. And I want my competition, when they come to the field of battle, I want them to be so underarmed for it. I want them coming out to sell a compressor. And the customer says, well, what about the fire device? What about the shutdown devices? And they're going, well, that's not my problem. I love you guys. You just keep selling for me. Because that customer goes, Michael was just in here and he had all those solutions for us. So we're going to go with Michael because he's thinking for us. And not only that, when you're thinking ahead like that, you also become the expert in customers. To Steve Jobs' point, think about Apple and the iPhone and stuff that he did there. I mean, they were the leader for the longest time, and they certainly have competition because he was thinking ahead like that. And again, people automatically, if you're giving solutions and you're thinking ahead, customers start to think you are the expert. And I'll just say that's silly, but it's true. I think they come to you for solutions, and you get that reputation, which is a great place to be. So yeah,
That is so rad.
Pro Steve Jobs. I think he's on the right track. I like his style.
Right, he learned from you. Okay, so there is an application there, and I'm guessing my mind is firing. First of all, this whole hydrogen, you're saving the planet and making these remarkable solutions is all like freaking magic to me. It's like you're like talking about compressed gas. I'm like, I don't even know where you get gas. Like, I have no idea. It's all freaking magic. But the essence of what you're talking
Beans.
about. Okay. Good point. The essence of what you're talking about can be applied in every field, I imagine. And I'm just thinking in the spaces that we occupy as leaders, the people that work for us, it's like, okay, so you did this. What did you do in furtherance of that for the people that we serve? It could be a customer. It could be someone calling, public safety for help. So my mind is really firing in an interesting way that leaders that are listening to this will be compelled to be where they are and then to perhaps ask these questions and explore with their folks, how might we do this, to think for people. They'll need A, B, and C after our immediate interaction has concluded. That's something. Kristen, is this making your brain fire as well?
Yeah, there's also for sure as far as it transcends across industries, but
Yeah.
there was something else there that really hit. And, when you said, even though you use the words, I'm kind of paranoid about my competition, in actuality, you're more focused on building a better product for the needs of people. And I think there's a lesson there as well, because there's this famous picture of Michael Phelps just as he is about to win whatever gold medal it was, and he's looking ahead, and his competition, you can see in this still shot, they're looking at him. And I found that so interesting. And the metaphor there is that he's the winner and he's focused on the future, on, ahead, and he's not looking at his competition. And there's something there about getting better and making a better product, making that better widget, whatever industry you're in, determining what the customer needs before they even realize they need it. But if you spend too much time focused on your competitors, you're going to lose that future focus.
Oh, no, no, absolutely. And I think to both your points, I think being able to look ahead, and I think it can be applied to a lot of different, whether service industries or product industries. But I do think you do need to be selective. There are some things that I don't believe in the whole theory of don't fix what's not broken. And I think
Mm-hmm.
part of that is being able to distinguish it. All right, maybe there's some school teachers out there that may get offended with this, but math, I think, is a great example. Math, the concepts of math have not changed in the last century. Yet, for some reason, we feel, and it worked, we produced a lot of really smart people teaching math the way they taught me math, for instance. But now some people say, hey, we need to do better. We need to change things. And now we have a system, for instance, that, okay, maybe they get there, but it may not be as efficient as it was back then. The point being is, sometimes you need to be able to look at things and go, okay, that is really optimized. Now I need to look at parts of the equation that are not optimized, where we could do better, and where to focus that forward-thinking aspects of it. Because to sit there and focus forward aspect of the resources, trying to look at where the future is going to go on something that really doesn't require that's working well, isn't a great use of time or resources, and oftentimes can actually, I think, take you backwards a little bit. So I think that's the other part of the process that you have to go through, being selective of where you do apply it. Like we're not gonna make
Yeah.
the 8-track tapes come back any better by spending a lot of time on that one. So.
Yeah, those are so last year. So Michael, we've spent some time together. We know you're doing this big boat launch. So we just have a couple final things. And you can make them as brief as you want. So we have a question. Do you make your bed?
Absolutely. Well, I share it with my wife. I do it every once in a while. She does it half the time.
But it gets done.
Oh, it gets done. Absolutely, yes.
So
Yes,
first
done.
one out of bed doesn't have to make it. Last one out makes it. Is that what I'm hearing?
And I wake up early.
Yeah. See, that's my strategy.
Well done.
Yeah.
Okay, Kristen,
But then I have to remake it.
Yeah, she's a monster. She
I love it.
remakes it.
I'm a monster. I remake the bed. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I never get the pillows back on there the way they're supposed to go on. I know. I know that. It's my burden I carry with me. So.
What is with us ladies and our pillows? I don't know. It's a gender thing. So Kristen will ask you a question in a minute. I want to really tug on this. You're a pilot, and that is a passion. It is a calling. I connected you and my sister. You guys do that pilot thing and talk airplanes. And, there's a prop somewhere, jet, and you guys both look, and we just wait for you to stop staring and identify said aircraft and then move on. So what do you say to passions fueling you?
Oh yeah, no. I think passions have got to be passions fuel you. It adds the piloting thing for me is it's a release. It's life is busy as it is. It's busy. So being able to go fly, you're able to kind of set everything else aside and just focus on that. It gives your brain a chance to kind of rest. Yeah, okay, it's busy doing other things, but it's different. And so that's kind of why I do it. I mean, folks that become pilots for a living, I think it's great, wonderful people. But to me, I think it kind of takes away the joy of it that I have out of it. But again, it's not.
Well,
Yeah. So.
and your plane is a head turner. You told me a great story about a big old jet pilot that saw you go by and went, "Woo!" I think he said that's a sexy contrail you're leaving there, Mister. He said something like, "That's my story. That's how I tell it."
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay. Yeah, that was a little bit of a head inflator for me. So yes.
You know what though? I'm so appreciative of hobbies and passions and what you said about I want to still love it. Isn't that so interesting? And this is this could be a whole other podcast still about, following your passion, but then when that passion turns into work and suddenly becomes work and you lose that electric feeling that you had when you used to do it. It's like how sometimes chefs say that they're magnificent at cooking. And then you get into a restaurant and it just takes the fun out of creating at some points, so there's that. So I think that the lesson here is that you have what you do, but you also have to have an outlet that just fuels you, that ignites you, that energizes you and inspires you so you can go back and do the things that you do to make a living.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And one thing I say about piloting that it's the downside of it. It has an expiration date. At some point you reach a certain age where you can't get insurance, or you're just not able to fly. So one of the things that kind of my next objectives is to find that other passion. Cooking is one, but what other things can I do that I can build on later on in life when flying? I've reached that expiration date essentially. So I think I'm a big believer as we get older, we need to maintain social contacts to keep it. We have to have something that we do for ourselves. We find enrichment from. So I'm still looking for that next chapter.
That's
Michael,
awesome.
are you when you say that there's an expiration date? Does it ignite you to think about trying something? You said cooking is another passion, but is there something out there that you haven't tried yet that you've always wanted to do? Is there another thing, that you're like, okay,
if you say
I'm gonna
pickleball,
start.
I
Yeah,
know
don't
where
say
you
pickleball.
live.
You can't
did
answer
not-
pickleball.
No. Pickleball didn't enter the equation.
Good.
I think for me, I mean, I do run occasionally. I do like every week. But I think running more places around the world. But and hopefully physically I can keep that up for years and years to come. But maybe combining that with flying to those places, but or having a big commercial. What the hell?
What makes zero sense to me is when you're like, the flying has an expiration date. I would more think that running has an expiration date because I'm 50 and I can't fricking do that shit anymore. I'm like, I'm done running. And you're like, flying, but I think I'll go run everywhere. That is so confusing to me, but I'm going to let you have it.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying. And now we're going to be sponsored by ARP, the American Association of Retired People, and knee surgeons everywhere. That's
Well, it's funny. It's funny. So I've been fighting the whole old age thing. I started getting stuff from AARP when I was 55. You started getting. I used to write on there deceased and send them back. And I think after about 6 months, it finally worked. I stopped getting stuff from ARP. Except now they realize that I'm really alive, and so now I'm getting overloaded with crap from ARP. So it's.
That's awesome.
I would not want to write deceased on that. I feel like that might be a self-fulfilling prophecy or something. Like, I don't want to tempt that kind of crazy ass fate, but okay. All right.
Michael, Kristen sparked this thing in me to suck at something new. So I got a kit on knot tying. And I just I'm trying to tie knots. I have balls.
Hold on.
A juggling kit. I mean, come on.
All right. Well, we'll do it together. How's that?
I love that. We'll tie each other up. It'll be like a new game. Cribbage and tie up a
This
friend.
just got X-rated. And
Hey,
I
Michael,
appreciate it.
You brought us some really meaty substance today and talking about relationships and passions, fueling opportunities, being open to the unfolding experience. You talked about diving in full speed. My mom used to say there's an African proverb that says never test the water with both feet. But you are all in. You dive in, you immerse yourself in it, you try it, you trade in that tie for some steel toe boots, and you start welding to become the best welder and understand it from within. You talked about thinking for your customer. We can think for the people that need what we deliver, whatever that is. You talked about healthy paranoia for the competition and staying ahead of them. And you talked about not taking yourself really seriously, having a damn good time, no matter what you're doing. And those are all things that fill up a bunny, right? They
Wow.
fill us
That's
up
right.
to keep us walking
That's
our
right.
path. So it's been
That's right.
remarkable.
So I
That's
get the
right,
full bunny.
Michael.
I get the full bunny award.
You
Oh,
do. You are a solid bunny, sir. You are a solid
you
bunny,
might
not a
even get
hollow
one of
bunny
these
here.
mugs as a thank you.
You, yeah, you
Wow.
might get a mug.
I
Yep,
love
there
it.
you
I
go.
love it. I want a mug. I
They're
want
highly
a mug.
coveted.
Oh,
They're highly coveted.
They're
I will
numbered.
trade you. I will trade you a mug if you move my application to the top of the pile for
sold.
the best
Sold.
friend applicants. Okay, done. All right. I love it
Well,
when a deal comes together, Michael.
I'm the barrier to anyone's app. I
Oh
do
yeah.
paper cut.
Between Sylvia
Okay.
and,
All right.
Allie,
Sounds
you're
good.
gonna.
Oh, he just
Yep.
brought my sister into it. Sylvia and Allie. See, my sister just got top billing.
There you go. Yes.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, they're
Oh,
great.
Wow. Hi,
Michael.
Allie.
We love them.
Well,
To all our listeners.
if you were to conclude, Michael, with some final thoughts about what our listeners, how they can fill their bunny, is there something that you really want to leave them with to chew on?
Ooh, I would have to say, stretch every morning. Don't take life so serious because you're not getting out of it alive. And do something. Be kind to others. Be kind to others.
Love that.
And it will all that will make you a better person. You'll feel better as we get older. Because we're all going to get there.
Yeah.
And so, but,
And meet somebody on a plane. That's what we say. Take us home, Kristen.
yes!
Take us home, sister.
Yes. Michael, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your wisdom and taking some time on out of your very busy launch today to spend some time with Sylvia and I. We appreciate it. So we would like everyone to know that Ted Madden produces this podcast, and the song you're about to hear was written and performed exclusively for the Hollow Bunny podcast by my handsome and talented son, Jake Zeman. If you like the podcast, please subscribe, like, review, and tell everyone you know about it. You can also find us on all the social medias under Hollow Bunny Leadership Podcast. Keep filling your bunnies and please keep filling substance to others. Please keep that, in the words of Michael, be kind to others. That's honestly the best filling that we can provide to others. And that's what makes a solid bunny. So thanks everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Ladies. All right. Take care.
Thanks, Michael Koonce.
All right. Take care. Bye.
When you look inside, what do you find? Are you content to fall behind? When you lose your way and you've lost your why, have courage and get ready to fight the hollow bunny. When the way ahead is covered in smoke and you're tired and you're scared and you're losing hope, you'll open your heart and your eyes to see a challenge and a question, why not me? To fight the hollow bunny. And we all feel hollow sometimes, but the monsters are only in your mind. It's a tough pill to swallow, but if you're brave and kind, you'll be alright. If you fight the hollow bunny. When the challenge ahead scares you to death, you tame the imposter inside instead. To change the world, you've got to start small. It takes a leader to say, I don't know it all. and I know I'm gonna fall, but I'll pick it up and come back stronger, failing forward and moving onward, doing the hard thing and the right thing, forever fighting the hollow bunny. And we all feel hollow sometimes, but the monsters are only in your mind. It's a tough pill to swallow, but if you're brave and kind, you'll be alright. If you fight the hollow bunny. If you're tough on the outside but empty within, something's gonna crack, you've gotta start again. And we all tough on the outside but empty within, something's gonna crack, you've gotta start again. The monsters